Howdy do Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. This is Gary.
And this is Adam.
And welcome to episode 211.
Yes.
Have you ever thought what it's like to be wanderers in the fourth dimension? Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
There's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
Great men are forged in fire. It is the privilege of lesser men to light the flame.
I'm the Doctor. This is Rose Tyler. She's my +1. Is that all right?
That would be me.
Hello. Surprise!
Boom, etc.
I'm the Doctor. Do everything I tell you. Don't ask stupid questions. And don't wander off.
I've got new kidneys. I don't like the colour.
Howdy do Who fans. Hope you've all had a cracking week. That you've managed to do something Doctor Who related. Welcome to episode 211. Waving to new listeners, new subs. Hope you're all very well. Keeping well. Our long timers, grizzled ancients. Howdy do. Got a few bits of merch.
Yes.
A few bits of news items to go through, and then it's on to it's on to the Witchfinders. I say, shall we review the Witchfinders? Yes.
That's very good.
Oh, crikey.
Oh, brilliant. You should have auditioned.
I still have no idea what you think to this. As usual, there was that one week where we had a little bit of a what the heck's going on moment, but as usual, we're sort of in silence, if you like.
Yeah, I've been good. Yeah, there was one week, wasn't there, where we slipped and let our thoughts be known on social media of all places. Yeah. And since then, we've been pretty good. I haven't got a clue what you think of this week's either, to be fair. Yeah.
Yes.
Which makes it more exciting, actually.
It does. Yeah. Because I like seeing for any of our listeners that are not sure, Adam and I record our podcast via Skype. And I can see his gorgeous little face looking back at me. Little cheeky smile. So when I ask him what did he think of it, it's quite a moment.
Yeah, it's a very special moment.
It is. Yeah, it's a good point in the show. You've been up to anything, dude? Anything Doctor Who related?
I have managed to watch a classic actually this week because my partner's away at the minute, so I've got the TV to myself. Oh, lovely! All to myself.
Lovely.
It's been Blake Seven and Buck Rogers and Quatermass in the Pit.
Oh, I saw your. Did you pick up a new Quatermass thing?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because I've never seen it. Quatermass is one of these series that seems to get mentioned all the time. It comes up in conversations. I'm always seeing it online about this, this cult classic. And I thought, so how have I never seen this? I mean, I've seen the Hammer film years ago. They did like a movie of it. But I couldn't really remember much about that. So, I bought the series because BBC have just reissued it on Blu-ray or released it on Blu-ray for the first time. And, it's really good, actually. It's that classic black and white. It's just got that feel about it that I just don't know. You just can't capture nowadays. And I really enjoyed it.
Sci-fi, is it? Not sci-fi. And no, is it sci-fi? It is, isn't it?
Well, it is sci-fi, yeah. Yeah, I'd class it as sci-fi.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because I was reading, it comes with a little booklet. And I was reading about, and I can't quite get my head around this because some of it's on film, location, and then a lot of the rest of it's obviously studio. But apparently I think I'm right in saying this because, as I said, I still haven't got my head around it. So forgive me, listeners of Quatermass, if this is wrong. But the way I understand it is it went out live and all the studio bits were acted out live. But then in between they inserted these studio bits. And I'll tell you, when you watch it, it's so technical. I can't get my head around how they did it so well. if you know what I mean. Because you'd think that if someone's playing in a video clip and then they go, right, Studio A, go, that there's no sort of awkward pauses where the actors are waiting to sort of like action, it's just so smooth. And I don't know if I've got that wrong or what, but that's how it sounds, reading in the booklet. It just, the technicalities of making television back then just astound me. How they managed to come up with such quality like this. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. I didn't even know there was 2 before this. So this is Quatermass in the Pit. And there's 2 Quatermass before this, which I didn't even know about. I've only ever sort of known about this thing called Quatermass. So yeah, it was good. I've watched the whole 6 episodes now, and I'm going to go back and watch them all again because Toby Haydock's done commentaries on all of them. And of course, he's done a lot of Doctor Who commentaries, and he's really good, Toby. So I'm quite looking forward to doing that. And he'll probably explain better how they filmed it all and stuff. Because as I said, I just can't work out how they did it if it was going out live.
It was, yeah. I think it was. Wasn't it the BBC's first live sort of drama broadcast as well?
I'm not sure.
I think so. I'm not really into it too much, but I remember speaking with somebody. I think it was at a convention actually. Somebody who was really into it did say that I think the BBC had done quite a few live things up to that point, but no, I think this was the first sort of drama show that went out live. And like you said, they interspersed it with the little pre-recorded bits, but sounds pretty good though.
It is good. And I mean, it is slow. It's, when we talk about, sometimes we talk about today's television, the pacing was a bit slow and stuff. It is very slow, but it somehow it works. I don't know. I can't put my finger on why. Like, the whole first episode really is just them finding this thing. And it's just, I don't know, it's a different style somehow. Like I didn't find myself getting bored, but yeah, if it was made today, I'd be sat there thinking, come on, nothing's happening. It's I don't know what it is. It's bizarre.
It's that charm though, isn't it? Because classic Doctor Who has a similar thing where, some of it is slow and some of it's not designed to be binge watched, and it has the low budget stuff, but it's just that charm, isn't it, that comes with it that makes it
must be,
that thing. It has a thing. Yeah.
So I watched that, and also I did manage to get a Doctor Who in this week as well. So we're recording this on the Wednesday. I've still got a few more nights to have the TV to myself, so there could be more classic coming this week. But, I watched Legopolis the other night. I haven't watched that in a while. I've no idea what made me choose it. I thought, right, I'm in the mood for a classic. Who's it going to be? And I just went for Legopolis, and that's about as much as I can say because we haven't reviewed it, so I daren't say any more. But I one day we'll get round to Legopolis, and especially with the news we've got coming up in the Merch in a minute, I think it's quite relevant. But it's good to get a bit of classic Who on. I will say this though, fantastic documentary on Legopolis.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Tom is so honest and fierce. He's so fierce in it. It's incredible. And they've got studio footage of the actual regeneration when when Tom's lying there and then he has to get up and Peter comes and sits down, and then there's the guy playing the Watcher has to do his bit, and it's fascinating to watch all that. And I'm just amazing they've actually still got that behind the scenes stuff. So it's been a good week really. Any other things that I've done? My Harrop K9 turned up.
I saw
this week. He's a little cracker. He is fantastic. I was getting a bit worried because it's been a while since he was released and stuff. So I've been filming a little review of him. He's really good. And and also I managed to get the 13th Doctor Funko Pop, which we've been on about for quite some time, but it's the one without the coat. Because that's the only one we can get. She's quite nice. I was quite pleased to get it, to be honest with you. It's been a bit of a faff, hasn't it, trying to get this blimmin' Funko Pop. I wanted the one with the coat. I think most people did. I can't get my head around why the one with the coat is the exclusive and this is the sort of standard release. I just don't get it at all. It should be the other way around, but she is quite nice. I'm pleased to get it. I don't know if you're going to get one. I think you wanted the coat one as well, didn't you?
No, I'm not. I've stopped Funkos now, mate.
Oh, you stopped Funko, have
yeah.
You've I nearly swore then. You've effed Funko.
Yeah, I've just, do you know what? Very briefly, I loved Funkos when they first came out years ago. They were quite exclusive and stuff. But now, in my mind, I've got this vision that in like 50 years' time, we're going to see like a tidal wave of Funkos in the ocean, just a huge tsunami. Because, You know, we're just wrecking the oceans with plastic.
Yeah.
I've just got this vision of just like 1 billion Funko Pops that have been, you know,
it's funny you say that. Yeah. I was in HMV recently in London, and down in the basement, what used to be all the DVDs and Blu-rays, is now the section has shrunk quite considerably. And it's just wall to wall Funko Pops. And I was like, oh my God. And I was having this similar sort of similar thought, really. I was just thinking, God, one day it's just, I literally had visions of them all just piling up around me and drowning me. I was just thinking one day there's so many of them around the world. They are literally going to just take over one day, aren't they?
I wonder what they're made of. I know they're like a vinyl plasticky, but I'd be interested to see what them, and if they can be, because I'm not suggesting that people are going to start throwing their Funkos away. Of course not. But they must make so many of them. There's like hundreds of millions of them. You know, so anyway, I just find that they're just not exclusive enough anymore, and everyone's got them, and they're, you know, you can walk into any shop. You walk into bloody newsagent now and see them.
Yeah, it's true. You know, so they are literally everywhere.
But they've lost their appeal for me. Yeah.
They're a bit like the black cubes in The Power of Three, aren't they? They're just going to be like everywhere. They're going to be. There's going to be in the bins, in the streets. Yes. When I was in Brussels recently, I went into this little sort of sci-fi toy shop, which looks really cool from the window. I was like, oh, I've got to pop in here. And when I went inside, it was literally 95% Funkos. And it was like a TARDIS. And I swear I'm not exaggerating. It just went on and on forever, this shop. It had such a tiny little front. Mm-hmm. And I walked in and it was just, I just couldn't get over how many Funko Pops had been crammed in that shop. It was incredible.
It's crazy. Yeah. It was the same with the last time I was in Cardiff. They haven't got a forbiddenplanet.com store, but they've got the other one, you know, the international.
Yeah.
And I thought, I hadn't been in here in ages. Let's rock this place. And it was just Funko Pops everywhere. Everywhere. And I thought, come on.
The Funko nightmare. Some of them sell for so much money as well. I know my friend bought the 13th Doctor Pop with the jacket, and he got it for £100. And I was like, you paid £100? He's like, yeah, but you know, I was like, well, I said, I really want it, but I wouldn't pay that. But do you know what? We laugh, but actually, I've read just this morning that they have somebody emailed Funko and they got an email back saying, no, that has been vaulted. The jacket version that is not going to be coming out.
Oh,
now.
Right.
You know, I don't know if this is true. This is just something I read this morning, but so that's what they said. They said, no, I emailed Funko saying, you know, what's happening with the 13th Doctor Pop? And they're like, no, we're only the jacketless version. So it ain't looking likely, in which case my friend who did pay £100 probably got himself a nice little gem there, albeit an expensive gem. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. Crazy
money.
The Funko nightmare.
Yes.
The pop.
The Funko
nightmare.
Pop.
I'm trying.
World domination continues.
Yeah, the pop domination.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Wow.
What have you been up to? You got any classic Who in?
No, mate. I haven't got any. Didn't do any classic Who this past week. No, the only thing I watched. I had a quick look at the channel Watch.
Oh yeah.
On the Sunday morning, because they normally have this little mini marathon going on, and I turned it on just as the Doctor's Wife was starting.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one in ages. And I thought, I'll give this a watch. And it's it's a bloody good story, that.
Yeah, it is good, isn't it? It's not, I remember when we reviewed it, because I remember it was regarded as an absolute classic at the time. And a lot of people love it, don't they? I like it. I don't think it's as good as people say, but it is a good story. I'd certainly, happily watch it anytime. I think it's one of those.
Yeah.
Funny enough, my other half put on, was flicking through something on his tablet the other day, like iPlayer or something, and he started watching the Hungry Earth, the Silurian two-parter with Matt Smith.
Oh yeah.
Hungry Earth, and can't remember what it's called, but that one. And I haven't watched that since it transmitted. I've only ever watched that two-parter once, and I must admit, I was doing other things, so I didn't sort of sit and watch it. But he was really engrossed in it, and he was saying, "Oh, this is better. Why isn't it? This is a better style of Doctor Who, because he's kind of lost, he's kind of fallen out of love with the new series a bit. He was really into it at the start, but he's kind of, I wouldn't say he's given up with Series 11, but it's not grabbing him. But it was really strange, because I've never gone back to that two-parter. And but just seeing him getting engrossed in it made me think, actually, I really ought to give that another watch. You know, we haven't reviewed it, have we? So when we get round to reviewing that one, I'll be quite interested to see what I make of it, because I remember just feeling bored. I remember it was good, but it didn't do much for me, and I've never gone back to it. And that was a Chibbers episode, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
The Chibbers.
So I kind of had that in the background, but I didn't watch it, but I will do at some point, probably when we review it.
What did we give The Doctor's Wife then? I can't remember. I don't think we rated it mega high, but I think it was an average.
I'd probably put it at an 8, something like that, 7 or 8.
Yeah, I think so. But no, I just really I think I just needed some other Who as well. It was really nice to have a bit of, because Matt Smith is on fire in that story. You know, the story as a whole, the Neil Gaiman thing, I think expectations were quite high, because he's obviously a very, very good fantasy and sci-fi writer and all that. And I just think maybe just the scope of the story is a little bit larger than what they can fit into a TV show. But all of that stuff aside, Matt Smith's he's crazy good.
I must admit, I absolutely love Matt as the Doctor. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I love him. I suppose I feel a bit like, excuse me, I feel a bit like some fans feel about Jodie. I feel quite defensive when people, you know, say he's not very good. And I think a lot of Tennant fans sort of didn't warm to him because they love Tennant and stuff. And so I kind of, sometimes when people are being defensive about the 13th Doctor, I put myself in their place, because I'm a bit like that with Matt. Right. I think he was a great Doctor, you know, really good. Not always served the best stories, sadly, but, you know, he was great.
He was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Doctor's Wife, we gave it 7 each.
7 each?
Yeah.
Oh dear, I must have been in a bad mood
Pretty
that week.
That's not bad.
I don't know. I remember, I do like it. I just don't think it's the, you know, massive classic that some people regard it, but it is good. Yeah.
Indeed. Not been up to much for me. I think just very quickly, I think the 55th anniversary sort of whizzed by without much of a fanfare.
Yeah, I thought that.
Because we celebrated, obviously, 55 years of Who. And it's kind of that weird in-betweeny one, isn't it? It's not 50, it's not 60, it's that in-betweeny kind. So I guess it's not going to be any street parties or anything like that. But it's a cool little, another milestone, sorry. It's good to see that Who is still going.
Yeah, I think 55, I know it's a funny in-between number, but I still think it should have had a little bit more. Like, did the BBC even put a tweet out or anything? Because I didn't see one if they did.
Maybe.
I'm sure they must have
missed
done,
it if they did.
Yeah, I guess I must have missed it, yeah.
Yeah, but then again, they're not really up on, unless it's a biggie, like the 50, or I'm not sure what they're going to do for 60, but they're not really up on the big celebratory stuff, really. I remember when it came round to Eccleston's 10th anniversary, or whatever it was, and we thought they might have brought out something cool for that, or that just slipped by, and something else as well. So I don't think they're too hot on, unless it's a real biggie, like 50 or 100, whatever.
100, yeah.
100
I know what you
years
mean. Yeah. I think sometimes they're surprised, like how well, you know, I mean, these sort of new classic box sets that are coming out on Blu-ray, and I think they sort of put one out and thought, well, let's see if this does very well. I think they're sometimes quite surprised how well Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who sells. It's like, oh, that sold really well. And, you know, I think they sometimes, it bemuses them that this little old tacky show from, you know, back in the 60s that had no budget. I think they can't sometimes get their head around, well, people want to buy that, you know, what, you know. So I think that's why, you know, they don't repeat them and stuff. They don't seem to get their head around the fact that, a bit like we were saying about the charm of Quatermass in the Pit, they probably think, God, what, people still want that, do they? They don't seem to get it, you know, that we love these things.
They don't, I think sometimes they're slightly naive on that kind of thing, but anyways, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, 55 and not looking too shabby.
No, not too bad at all.
Yeah. And on that note, shall we move into some news and merch?
Yes.
Rose Tyler.
Rose Tyler, yes.
Tyler.
She's back.
She is back. She's going to be in Series 12 as the new companion.
Stop it.
Just
naughty,
kidding. Just kidding.
Very naughty.
Just kidding. Rose Tyler is back, but she is not on the TV. She's back with Big Finish, which seems to be a kind of natural progression, I would say, for her character, because she did a pretty decent volume with Tennant for the 10th Doctor Volume 2.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was all right. Yeah,
pretty good. So that must have been pretty well received, because they've given her her leading own volume. Yes. Which is called Rose Tyler, The Dimension Canon.
I like that title, actually.
Pretty good. Which co-stars Camille Kaduri, Jackie Tyler, Sean Dingwall, who I think is her father, isn't it? Yes.
Yes.
And Mark Benson, who plays, what's his face? Clive, yeah.
I thought of you as soon as I saw this announced. I thought they've been listening to Gary on the podcast, because you've been going on for years about bringing back Clive, haven't you? In his own little series and stuff. I bet you loved it when you saw that he was coming back in this.
I was doing backflips, mate, when I saw this.
I bet you.
I tell you, Adam's not wrong. I've been championing this character to come back in some form. I think since we started the podcast together, every single time that we've spoken about the episode Rose or about Eccleston's era and all that stuff, Clive is such a great character.
Yeah.
And he absolutely deserves some more time. So it's great that he's back. So it comprises 4 episodes, the normal thing for the Big Finish volumes. Episode 1 is called The Endless Night, which is by Jonathan Morris. The Flood by Lisa McMullen, The Ghost Machines by A.K. Benedict, and The Last Party on Earth by Matt Fitton. A little bit of blurb. So Rose Tyler is returning for a new Doctor Who spin-off, and she's bringing along her family and friends. We've been building this travel machine, the Dimension Canon, so I could come back. Anyway, suddenly it started to work and the dimensions started to collapse, not just in our world, not just in yours, but in the whole of reality, says Rose Tyler. Yeah, so I think it sounds anyway, and certainly based on the cover art, the image that they've chosen, it sounds like we're seeing Rose at the end of her time on the TV. You know, she's that very sort of battle-hardened, experienced time traveller, you know.
Yeah.
Sort of that type of Rose, not the very annoying, chirpy, jealous, love-struck Rose that we saw at the beginning of her time. So it sounds pretty good. And a little bit on Clive. It follows Rose's journey through dying parallel worlds, and also stars Mum Jackie, Dad Pete, and Mark Benton as alien investigator Clive Finch.
Yes.
Yes, come on. So I'm up for this. I'm going to order it just because Clive's in it.
Do you know what? It sold me having him in it. I think I probably would have got this anyway, actually, because I'm being a bit, because of the unbelievable output of Big Finish these days. I mean, since they got the new series license, man, they're just, knocking these releases out. I have to be a bit more choosy about the ones I get.
Yes.
Because I just can't afford them all. And also, I just don't have enough time to listen to them all. So, but this one, I'm pretty sold on it, actually. I like the sound of it. I'm really intrigued to see how they bring Clive into it. It said something there about parallel universes or something, because obviously he's killed off just as the Doctor meets Rose. So that would be the early Rose. And like you said, this is obviously the later Rose. And I just don't know how they're going to do it. And I'm pretty sold on this one. I think I'll be getting it as well. When's it actually out?
Let's have a look. It's out next year, probably.
It is next year, yeah.
September next year. So a little bit of a wait, but
I've got time to save up then.
Yeah, I think it'll be worth it, just because I know we're banging this old drum, but I think Clive will bring a really cool element to the story. He's so cool. And also they've consulted with Russell on this one, so he sort of guided them and steered them in a way that...
Oh, really?
Yeah, so just a little bit more. So they approached Russell with the idea of making a Rose spin-off, and he was really enthusiastic, and he suggested that they followed Rose's journey that ultimately leads to her finding the Doctor in the stolen Earth.
Ah, what a cool idea.
Yeah, so they found the idea really cool, and Matt Fitton, they started lobbing ideas around, all the rest of it. There's a whole multiverse of possibilities, and Russell suggested including Jackie and Pete, and embrace the idea of including a parallel universe version of Clive.
Oh, brilliant.
Who, of course, was killed off in the TV series. So it all sounds actually, I know there's a split opinion on Rose. A lot of fans love her. A lot of fans find her a bit annoying and so on. But I really think that the story for this one from Big Finish does sound really, really good.
I must admit, I really like the sound of that. Just to quickly go off on slightly, have you ever, because I know you love Clive and Mark Benton, who plays the character, have you ever seen that TV series they did, detective one, called Shakespeare in Hathaway with him?
Yes, yeah.
It was great.
Fantastic.
It was daytime television. It was on at like 2:00 in the afternoon, but I used to watch it on the iPlayer. And they've only done one series so far. I think they did one just to sort of test the water and see. And it's been really popular, and I think they're going to make some more. But he's so good in that.
He's really,
and I kept
really good.
Every time I watched it, I kept thinking, oh, Clive, he's so good. Anyway, yeah, so we'll definitely both be getting that. For sure. Right, in other news, Witchfinders overnight figures, not bad, sticking above the 5 million this time again. So we got 5.66 million viewers watched Witchfinders on the Sunday evening. Obviously, this is before all the other bits and bobs are added on, so it's not the final figure. And that's pretty consistent, isn't it, really? I think all the episodes, gradual drop and all that stuff. We know that, but it's still good. It's still going to be around the 7 million, but by the time they add on the iPlayer and stuff, and it makes it the fourth highest rated program for Sunday. So not bad goings at all. Actually, Doctor Who's still doing incredibly well in the viewing figures, especially in this day and age. I think X Factor got something like, I don't know, it's quite low, I think. So it's doing well. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of It, I think was the top watch program.
Yes. The old editor of Doctor Who magazine, Tom Spilsbury, he put some cool little stats out on Twitter the other day, or yesterday, and he said that a new record has been set for Who, as every episode of the series so far has appeared in the top 10 weekly TV chart.
Oh, cool.
Which is really cool.
That is good, isn't it?
Yes. But he did say also that the slight fly in the ointment is that the run of good figures also equals Doctor Who's all-time record for 6 consecutive ratings declines. So
right.
You've got to take the rough with the smooth, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's been top 10 and really good. But then I think since Rosa, possibly, or the one before Rosa, the overnights have been down slightly each week, but they're still very good. So it's just one of those, okay, we'll take that one. We'll take the hit of the declines for the better ratings each week. So
it's a funny one to get my head around, because the viewing figures have been quite consistently good, but it's been the most divided of series for a long time, I think. In terms of fandom and what fans think of it, and the writing and the quality of the series. So I just, when I see the viewing figures are strong, I think to myself, so is the show now appealing more to a different audience? Are new viewers on board and they're watching it every week, and all the fans are just moaning and switching off? Or I can't quite work out. It's probably a bit of both, isn't it? I mean, I think the Sunday night thing has definitely worked. And I think the fact that there's nothing else on the other side as well is probably brought new viewers to switch over and sort of give it a chance, and hopefully got into it. So I don't know. It's just strange because, I think the quality of the stories from our point of view has been very mixed this series. So it sort of surprises me how well it's doing. I'm pleased. I'm delighted it's back in the public eye in such a big way, but I'm slightly surprised by it as well. Considering the reaction that some of the stories have got, I'm just surprised it's not really taken a dive in the viewing figures, if you know what I mean. It just makes me think it's found a new audience as well as the sort of core audience.
I don't know. It's a strange, like you said, it's a strange beast, isn't it? The whole ratings thing. And just to be clear, you and I, we don't really see it as a big, important thing. The whole viewing thing. I mean, it's important to some people, I guess, and TV executives and all that stuff, but it's just a number, really, isn't it? As long as it's not in the bottom 10, then we're doing all right. So, but yeah, it's an interesting one. It's but it happens every series, though. You're not going to get 9 million views throughout the. It's just not going to happen, regardless of what I don't even know what the really big ones like Game of Thrones get and all that stuff, because they have a lot more viewers than.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. I don't know, but it's good overall. It's very good. So
yes,
can't really complain. Last bit of news. Last week we dived into a bit of discussion around moving the Christmas Day special to New Year's Day, and as if by magic, the BBC have released a new promo image showing Jodie in a very fetching, colourful scarf, as it seems to be the thing with doctors. How do you accessorise the Doctor? Let's just whack a scarf on there, and everybody will buy them in the millions.
I got to say, I love the scarf.
Well,
I blimmin' love it. It's a Paul Smith scarf, apparently, which is already sold out, of course.
Of course, yeah.
So that they'll be on eBay for about £1,000 each. But yeah, I love it. I'm just laughing because the reaction to it's just so funny. It kind of Twitter and Facebook exploded just because of a scarf, and I just find that quite amusing. But I can see why. I like it.
Yeah. To me, it's not really doing much for me.
No?
I'll be honest with you. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind it. I think it's a cool looking scarf, but it looks like the Doctor's just nipped into Next or Topshop or something and picked a scarf out and on she goes. What I mean is the colours and everything suit her Doctor. It looks good, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have anything Doctor-y about it. You know, it's a standard length scarf. We haven't got any crazy Fourth Doctor stuff going on, and there's no patterns on it to suggest it's in any way Doctor Who related. It just looks like a high street scarf. So yes, it's cool. She looks great. It's all good, but I certainly won't be, stretching the pounds to try and find one online. Put it that way.
I think if you'd have managed to get one before from Paul Smith, I think they were £65, which was expensive enough. So imagine what they'll be going for now. I must admit, I really like it. She probably picks it up from a charity shop or something in the episode. That would be quite fun, probably. But no, I really like it. I like this promo image. I'm kind of surprised we got it this early, considering how. God, it was like pulling teeth trying to get anything for Series 11 before it aired, but they seem to be a bit more forthcoming at the minute, don't they? So we did get a synopsis for the episode as well, but no title, which I thought was odd. Yeah. So they did release a synopsis, which I don't have to hand, I'm afraid, but it just basically said she meets up with her friends on New Year's Day and evil's invading Earth or something like that. So it wasn't the most exciting synopsis, but like the image.
Not too bad. Fireworks and the whole New Year's thing.
Is it a different coat or is it just the angle? The coat looks slightly different. Oh, okay. Could be, yeah. Just looks bigger, thicker. Don't know.
Still stand by my my need to have this link into the McGann film.
Oh, yeah, because it's New Year's Eve?
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, if they just... Because the whole theme of this series, when they're doing the historical stuff, or any time that they're back in time, they seem to have this theme of not interfering and changing events, but just being witnesses to things and giving things a gentle little nudge to, that they could do the same thing with Paul, with the Doctor and Grace. They could be sort of watching I don't know. It could be a cool little thing. I don't know, but
I can't see it happening. But I'm all for more McGann.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the promo image for the New Year's Day special.
Yes.
Yes. Should we get our metal buddy in? See what he's got? Old
yes,
Moody
get him
Pants.
in. Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Merch corner. Brought to you by the grumpy, miserable, little high-maintenance Dalek.
How are you, Dalek Tat? You all right?
Don't even bother.
No, not a word.
Do you know what? I don't even know why we bother having him around.
Can't we get another Dalek? Can't we get a special weapons one or something?
He's just
don't
stopped.
say it too loud.
No,
if he
he's
hears
just
it.
stopped.
Oh.
No, he's all right. He's all right.
Okay.
So he's very begrudgingly gave us a couple of bits to look at today. First one being a new book, which was based on an idea by Mr. Baker.
Mm-hmm.
So Tom Baker and somebody else, the name escapes me,
wasn't it Ian Marter?
That's it, Ian Marter. Yeah, they had this idea back when he was the Doctor. I think it was anyway. They had this idea of making a Doctor Who film, if I remember the blurb on this correctly. And they worked out an idea and a rough script and a story, I think, and all that stuff. But it was ultimately canned because, as we all know, the Doctor Who fund back at the time was very limited, should we say. They were skint, basically. So the idea of them making a film was just, they must, when Tom walked in with Ian and said, right, we've got this amazing idea. It's going to be a brilliant film. How do we get this started? I can just imagine all the execs just at the BBC just wetting themselves laughing.
Yeah.
You know, like belly up laugh, holding onto your ribs, falling off your chair laughing. And Tom just storming out with his scarf trapped in the door and then has to open it again and then slams it a second time. But years later, as everything with Doctor Who, it seems, it gets another stab at it. So all this stuff has been, because I think it was lost, wasn't it? Well, not lost, but it was filed away for years and people had forgotten about it. And a lost copy was found by the BFI. And they, it was donated to them by John Nathan Turner.
Yeah.
And then it was been picked up by James Goss. He's adapted it into a proper book. So I think Tom Baker's like his name is the one that's splashed on the front. He's like the salesman for it, if you like. But I imagine there'll be a bit of blurb in the intro or somewhere to say that it was him and Ian and James. James Goss has done the adaptation because he did the Douglas Adams book, didn't he? The Space Pirates.
That's right. Yeah, Space Pirates. That's right. And he did Sharda as well, I think. Oh,
that's
no,
right.
Was it Sharda or was that Gareth Roberts?
No, it was. Hold on.
City of Death, maybe.
One
City
of those.
Death, yeah.
He definitely did the Space Pirates.
I've got it here somewhere.
Yeah. And so this should be rather good. It's called Scratchman. And the Doctor, Harry and Sarah Jane arrive at a remote Scottish island where their holiday is cut short by the appearance of strange creatures, hideous scarecrows, preying on the local population. The islanders are living in fear and the Doctor vows to save them all, but it doesn't go to plan. The time travellers have fallen into a trap and Scratchman is coming for them. With the fate of the universe hanging in the balance, the Doctor must battle an ancient force from another dimension, one who claims to be the devil. Scratchman wants to know what the Doctor is most afraid of, and the Doctor's worst nightmares are coming out to play. So a little bit late. This sounds like it would have been a cracking Halloween book.
Yeah, it would have been, wouldn't it?
But it's not out until January next year.
That's right. I think it's released on Tom Baker's birthday, actually, which would be nice. I'm quite intrigued by this because I Scratchman, I've heard of this. I've heard of it before.
Right.
In the background there somewhere. So I've never known much about it, but I always was aware of this idea that had been floating around from Tom and stuff. So I'm quite intrigued by it. They're going to do an audiobook as well, which Tom's going to read. So that'll be quite cool to hear the man himself reading the book. So I might. I will. I'll definitely pick this up just to see what it's all about. Hopefully, it's better than The Boy Who Kicked Pigs, which was Tom's other book, which was just bizarre, to say the least.
Weird.
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, 12 quid on Amazon.
Not bad.
Or a tenner if you want the Kindle edition, but pretty reasonable. Yeah, pretty reasonable for these type of books, I would say.
I don't do digital books.
Could be good. I think because James Goss is handling the actual novelisation, I think it could be a pretty good one. He's very, very good at this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, it's good to have him involved, I think.
Yes.
Right, in other merch news, something lovely has landed. This was announced at midnight last night. We're recording on a Wednesday, so just beautiful. The next limited edition Blu-ray set has been announced from the BBC, and it's going to be season 18, Tom's last season, 4-disc set in its usual style, following on from season 12 and 19. Looks fantastic.
Oh, doesn't it?
Yeah, Lee Binding's artwork all over it, just looking absolutely glorious. This is a mixed season as well, because I really like season 18, but there are stories in there that are real guilty pleasures. I wouldn't consider them the best stories, but I really love them, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
That, like Meglos is such a bizarre story, but I just kind of love it. And Legopolis, which I watched the other night and stuff like that. So, so there's going to be loads of new extras on this, a new making of. Updated special effects for Legopolis. The commentaries moderated by Matthew Sweet. Surround sound mixes for the Warrior Gate. Behind the scenes footage from Leisure Hive, Full Circle, Legopolis. More behind the sofa featurettes, which I really enjoyed on the other releases. What else have we got? Brand new documentaries, The Writer's Room, and Weekend with Waterhouse. Oh,
hello.
Sounds good. That sounds good. This also is going to include K9 and Company as well, which is an added treat. There's going to be loads as well. So it's an 8-disc box set. I thought it was 4-disc. I think it's 4. The little write up there says the 8-disc box set also includes hours.
No, it is 8. Yeah.
Is it?
8 discs, my friend. You look at the picture.
Oh my word!
You'll see.
Yeah, I was thinking it was. Yeah, I was thinking those 4 discs. So it's an 8-disc set. Blimey! How many discs were the other sets then? They were only 4, weren't they? Anyway, it's a mega set. It's going to be a great set. It's coming out. When's it out? Next year, obviously. February next year.
Don't read into that too much because the 2 that we've had so far have both been delayed. So this is probably going to be April. I'm going to say March at the earliest.
I am thrilled that they are getting these out so quick, but I'm also slightly worried because it does strike me that since the success of season 12, they've gone, right, the BBC are rubbing their hands together, right, let's get these out. Come on, let's get that money rolling in quick, whipping the, cracking the whip. Come on, get them done. And the problem with that is it means, they get rushed out and mistakes are made. And I'm all for them coming out and I'm loving it, but please don't rush them. You know what I mean? It's I don't know, because I think I just don't know how well planned out these have been. It seems like this has come out very quick on the back of season 19. And I'm all for it. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. I just don't want disc errors and things just because the BBC want to get them out as fast as possible, if you know what I mean. But great news. I'm thrilled, mate. I must admit, I'm so happy this particular season has been chosen as the next one myself. I really am chuffed, actually.
No, it's fantastic, mate.
Yeah.
And like you said, Lee Binding's artwork is just doing the business as always. Yeah, looks beautiful. Some prices for this then. Amazon are a bit wacky at the minute, but their price will absolutely come down. So at the minute it's £56, but it will no way be that. By the time it's released, it will come down quite a bit. HMV, you've got it for $39.99, which seems closer to the thing. And zoom.co.uk, you get £1 off, $38.99 if you pre-order over there. So standard pricing that we've seen based on the previous 2 box sets. Nothing crazy there, but no, absolutely another pre-order for sure.
Oh, definitely. Really I can't wait to see them lined up. I'm just really looking forward to putting them all together, if you know what I mean. Like, I really would love to see McCoy's, one of McCoy next. Probably, is it the middle season, whatever that would have been?
20.
So, or the one with Greatest Show.
26?
I'm trying to work it out what it would be.
20, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, the one with Greatest Show and all that would be great.
Be awesome. Yeah. There is one little about all of these. And that is unless they hire some kind of private investigative team and some kind of archaeological team, these are never going to be 1 to whatever, are they? It's always going to start at season.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It might be season, because there's so many lost from Troughtons and Hartnells, I just don't know. On the shelf, I'm thinking about from a completist point of view now. We're never going to have seasons 1 to 28, whatever it is, are we? Because they simply haven't got all the episodes to bring them out.
Unless they animate them, which would cost a fortune, but maybe that's why they're leaving those till last. Or they could put the soundtrack, like they do the audio books of the missing ones. They could, I don't know, they could probably get around it, but I know it's not the same. I know what you mean. The other thing that worries me, actually, in terms of how they look on the shelf and the completist side of things, is I keep hearing these rumors that that after this, the next releases aren't going to be in the limited edition style. So they'll just be standard. And I don't like the sound of that because that means they'll just be in a normal box and then you'll have your 3 limited, but all the rest will be in a standard box. I really hope that isn't true because I think pretty much everyone would agree with me here. I don't get what's wrong with just releasing the limited ones first and then when they sell out, put them in a standard box. Then everybody's happy.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So those that want the limited can get it for the pre-order and then when they're gone, standard box. Now, what's wrong with that?
Well, that's kind of been the model for lots of TV shows and stuff.
I just don't get why they have to make everything so complicated. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it must be...
It's just a rumour. Hopefully they'll all be limited to begin with.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, it looks like they're not the cheapest things to make because there's, well, especially this one with the 8 discs and you've got the booklet and the little Velcro open-y thing and actual, not just the packaging, but the time and effort it takes to put all these cool features. I mean, the season 19 one that's just come out, it looks like they filmed a ton of extra stuff for that.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's not cheap to do. But if fans are willing to pay it, just keep them rolling in this format. You know?
And to be fair, I mean, season 12 sold out incredibly fast. Season 19 apparently is close to selling out and it's not even been released yet. So they're obviously selling well, which is fantastic news. And I bet the BBC are loving it. As I said, they're on the phone going, right, what season? Get it all out, you know. So it is great that they're selling so well. And hopefully that will fund the rest of them. Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're all 8 discs, mate.
I thought season 12 was 4, but I could be wrong.
Well, season 19 is definitely 8 discs.
Is that 8 as well? I was just trying to check that, funny enough.
Yeah.
Because what I was thinking is 2 of the discs had to be replaced. And I thought that left 2 in the box, but I could be completely wrong. Maybe I'm just getting all muddled. Anyway, it's still very good. There's season 12. Let me have a look.
Season 12 is 6.
6. Okay. Right. Mystery solved.
Yeah. So, yes, season 18 on its way.
Fantastic.
Rightio, review time.
Yes.
What is it this week?
So, episode, what are we on now? Is this 8?
Yeah.
Of series 11? Yep. Episode 8, The Witchfinders.
People of Bilehurst Crag, let us put the accused to the test.
It's a witch trial.
Every last witch in this village shall be destroyed.
A genius plan, Your Majesty.
Oh.
Go on, do the impression. I love it.
Yes, Team TARDIS. Team TARDIS land in early 17th century England in the midst of a witch trial. And despite her own non-interference policy, the 13th Doctor cannot help but try and stop all the killings. However, with King James growing suspicious of the Doctor and her ways, it is up to her friends to play Witchfinders and uncover the hidden mysteries behind the trials.
Oh, dear.
There we go. It was written by Joy Wilkinson, directed by Sally Abrahamian. Hope I'm saying that correctly. It stars the usual Team TARDIS and a fairly decent support cast. So, The Witchfinders, what did you reckon, buddy?
Well, quite a dark little episode this, wasn't it, for 6:30 on a Sunday evening? It turned dark very quick, didn't you think? I was sat there, just finished having my dinner, had a little glass of wine, Doctor Who, and they're in the forest, and oh my God, someone's being drowned. Blimmin' heck, this has turned dark quick. I actually really enjoyed this one, mate. I thought it was a good, dark, creepy episode. I thought it had some great visuals. I thought it was the best that Jodie's been written. It's certainly the best performance she's given this series.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. I'm not going to put it. It's not a 9 or a 10 or anything like that. But I certainly enjoyed it, and I thought it was quite strong. It did have a few pacing issues. It was a bit slow in places, a little bit bored in the middle. Very quick wrap up. But apart from that, I thought it was a good, solid episode of Doctor Who. So I was quite pleased by the end of this. I thought, yeah, that's a bit more like it. I think what really brought it up for me was Jodie. To be honest, I thought she finally stepped up a bit this week. Right. So, yeah, I thought it was good. I did think it was good this week. What about you?
Yeah, cool. I have similar thoughts, mate. I thought this was a really good story,
cool.
This one. Yeah. I think it was an episode that was needed at this point because we didn't need another historical. We've had a couple of those. We didn't need another emotional. We just needed like a good old-fashioned scary story. And this one delivered on that, I think. It was fairly creepy. Like you said, for 6:30 on a Sunday, I imagine there would have been a fair few kids.
I tell you, when what's the character's name? The Savage, Becca Savage, when she transformed into that thing, even I was properly like, whoa. I was thinking if I was a kid now, I'd be bricking it. And because I was myself, I thought it was pretty scary, which is good. You know, this is what I kind of want from Doctor Who, of just getting that level of which
is good.
I
see what you did there.
And the mud thing as well, the CGI mud creature. I wish we'd seen a bit more of that, because I thought such a simple. It was just mud with two eyes and a scary mouth, but I thought it looked great. I was like, that thing that's going out the tree. So it's so simple, but
we're at near the end of the series now. They've run out of money.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they obviously run out of money. Yeah, I'll tell you what. The bit where there were scenes like though where one of the witches, the group of the zombie witches, whatever they were, that they went and got an axe and was like walking down the stair. I was thinking, this is like someone out of a horror film. This is great.
Cool.
You know, it really did. I think the look of it again, just fantastic, and it had a real good creepy tone. I wish there is something slightly missing from it. I wish I could put my finger on it. I was watching it again yesterday and thinking, I really do like this story, but there is something. It just didn't quite have that magic spark to make it a 9 or a 10. Do you know what I mean? It was just a good solid episode, but I was thinking, it needed something in it, something extra to have really bumped it up to be an amazing, absolutely classic episode .2. But I think it was almost there. It was certainly one of the better episodes in the series, in my opinion.
I agree. Yes. It had a classic Who feel to it as well. You know, it had a really old sort of like a Tom Baker Brain of Morbius-y kind of feel to it.
It reminded me of Fenric.
Or Fenric,
when that scene when she's looking at the mud in her little jar, and they're like, "Doctor, turn round," and then the camera does a brilliant pan up. It sort of turns around and pans up, and all the zombie witchy things are all stood there. Like, I was thinking, this is really good stuff.
Yeah, that's the obvious one, I think.
Fenric,
yeah. So, but no, it did remind me of an earlier Who feel to it. Just because there wasn't any CG involved with the witches, really. You know, when you see, what was it, the old granny who had come back? She had been revived by the mud thing. And when the other the other women who had been accused of witchcraft anyway had come back to life, and they were sort of walking in a little group and stuff, and there was no CG needed. It was just physical makeup and stuff.
And it looked great, didn't it? It really did look good.
Looked really good.
The only bit of CG maybe was when old Savage transformed. I think clearly she had loads of makeup on, but I think they might have added a bit of CG over her or something, because it looked really good. Do you know what I mean? Her face was sort of glowing and stuff, and it looked really fantastic, actually. I don't know how they achieved the effect. I'm assuming she had prosthetics. I can never say that word. And then they sort of overlaid CG on it as well. I'm not sure. You know, when she first transformed?
Yes. Yeah. That was really good. Like amazing. Just everything worked in that moment where she transformed, and then her voice changed. And
the voice and everything's really creepy.
Yeah, it was very well done. It was really, I'm surprised that they had this one on early, because a couple of previous episodes, they went out later, didn't they? So it's interesting that they had this one on in the early slot, because I'm so confident that there would have been a bunch of kids across the country, across the world potentially, that were just like, oh my God.
I think this should have been the Halloween one. I really do. I think this should have been earlier on in the run, because I think it's one of the stronger episodes. I think it should have been. I don't think it should have been held back this far in the series. I would like to have seen it earlier, and I think it would have been great as a Halloween episode. I think.
What was the Halloween one? That was the
spider one, wasn't it?
Oh, the spider one, yeah.
Arachnids, yeah.
Yeah, this should have been the Halloween one.
I think this should have been the Halloween one. I think this would have been great as a Halloween story, and on at sort of 7 o'clock as well, when it's all dark, and would have been fantastic actually.
I'm with you on that one, buddy.
Yeah, Mr. Trick there.
So story-wise then, And visually, it looked really good.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Because I think on most of the episodes that we've seen up to now there's been a lot of location shots, and it's, the use of the new cameras and lenses and stuff has really showcased that awesome color range and cinematic feel and stuff. Whereas this one, it had almost a black and white feel to it most of the time. And it was really brought out that really old English witch, because I'm a really big fan of that time period, like TV and films about the whole witch trials and the whole
Witchfinder and all that.
Yeah, all that stuff. I'm a big fan of that stuff, and it captured that really nicely. And so there was these really nice little scenes that only lasted a few seconds between that cut up the story nicely, and and that brought that horror aspect into it as well. So there'd be a scene where all you saw was the tree with no leaves on it and some like crows flying off of it. Or there'd be a scene where you'd just see just a location just for a few seconds, but just nothing happening, just that really old wintertime sense that something's not quite right with that village and that area. So I think visually, although it didn't have the really vibrant, huge cinematic feeling that we've had of all the outdoorsy stuff and the awesome sets and stuff that we've seen previously, I think it still was amazing to look at, but just from a different visual perspective.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, there was a scene like an overhead shot of the trees, like a drone shot or something.
Yes, yeah.
And then there was
that.
the nice sort of stark, the bit where she was chopping down the tree, when she was telling the backstory, and it was just a stark, almost silhouetted person chopping through. Visually it was sort of, the palette tone was quite grey and dark, and I love it. Just really suited it, I thought.
That's what, it absolutely suited the tone of the story.
Yeah,
it almost had a Tim Burton-y kind of feel to it. If anyone's seen Sleepy Hollow, it's you know what I mean. It's got very. They didn't go as far as that, but it had a kind of visual cue to that kind of that thing. So visually, I loved it. Looked really good. And I think because there wasn't as much CG in it, we just had those two key scenes. When Becca transforms into the Morax properly, like you said, that CG and her face is like moving around that they've done, and the voice and stuff. And then later on, where you saw the proper Morax mud monster thing, with the exception of those, the rest of it was just good old sets, actors doing their thing. There wasn't any explosions needed. There wasn't any laser beams needed, anything like that. It was just, it was just a really good. I imagine this one would have been fairly cheap to produce because it was just all, let's all jump in a van, go to a village somewhere, just do your thing.
I must admit, I did feel for Jodie though on this one, because it must have been freezing. I don't think I'm assuming it was a stunt person actually going into the water. Because they edited it quite well. I was watching quite carefully on the second watch to see if you ever actually saw Jodie in the water. You don't, but she was clearly wet when she was coming out and doing the other scenes, and you can see sort of like her breath, And I was thinking it does look cold, and I bet she was freezing filming that. So I did feel for her having to film in those conditions, but it was nice to see her getting really stuck into the action this week, I thought. And also finally really standing up to people and putting things right. And I just thought she was written so much better this week. I just wish we'd seen this earlier on in the series. I wish she'd been written more like this.
Right.
Because I finally felt like she's almost there, her performance was so much better as well. It's an incredible contrast to last week. I mean, I think we were in the minority with our not liking Kablam that much. Most of the people are raving about it. Some people even now are saying it's like their second favourite of the series, and I just don't understand it, because for me, the difference in acting between Kablam and the actors this week are miles apart. Everybody, bar one, which I'm sure we'll get onto, everybody was playing this absolutely straight, serious, and it was just, it was for me, it was on another level. And I thought Jodie was on another level as well. I just thought her performance was much better this week, especially when she was tied to that tree and she was having the discussion with King James. The dialogue and the way she delivered the dialogue was absolutely bang on. And I just wish we'd seen more of her like that in the series before now. It's episode 8 and we've only just got that performance. I just think it's such a shame. It just shows the potential that she actually has, given good writing.
Absolutely.
Given the right words, she can absolutely deliver them with power and force. And I just almost despair. I was thinking, there you go. That's what we've needed these past 8 weeks, a bit of that, But yeah, I just thought it was, acting wise, was so much better this week.
Really?
Mostly.
Good.
Mostly better.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple of people.
What did you think to the monster/villain of the week for this one then? Because one of our long running complaints for Series 11 is that we've not had a decent, threatening enough monster. Did you think that was fixed in this one, or do you think they were still a bit wet?
Well, fixed to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we haven't had anything original, I mean, I thought there was a great threat this week with the zombie grannies or whatever you want to call them, right? I thought they worked really well, especially when they're walking around with an axe. I thought, they were good. They were scary. I thought when she transformed into is it Morax?
Yep.
I thought she was really scary. Maybe that should have happened a bit earlier on in the episode because, she was terrifying. As for the mud creature, well, we only saw it for like 20 seconds, so can't really think. So there was definitely threat this week. There was definitely a good, I don't even know if I can say monster, but for want of a better word, monster.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't original. It's not a weeping angel. We've had no weeping angel or anything this series. There's been nothing that stands out. So a little bit wet in that sense. You know what I mean? It was really good, but it's still nothing. We've seen this stuff before. Yeah. It was good, but it's just nothing original again.
Yeah, for me, it was one of those times where I feel like they should let go of a certain thing. This series has definitely had themes running through it consistently. And one of the things is, yes, there's been an alien threat of some kind or a monster threat, whatever. But it's usually turned out to be the humans in the story that are the actual problem. And we had that again here where, yes, we've got this alien thing that's, possessing people or whatever, but the actual person who's doing the killing, accusing these women of being witches and doing all that stuff is Becca Savage.
Yeah.
So, I agree with you. To an extent, they did up the threat level a little bit with the whole witches stalking the countryside, especially with the axe and stuff and being very scary and all that. And the Doctor coming very close to biting the dust when she gets dunked.
Yeah.
When she gets tied up and dunked. But, it just alludes back to the Series 11 theme that, yes, there are bad aliens and with bad intentions and all the rest of it, but ultimately it's the human beings that are doing the bad stuff. And I wish they'd have dropped that a little bit for this one. It kind of would have benefited a little bit from just being an isolated, let's make it properly about witches. Why didn't one of them... Because I was half expecting a tiny bit of me wishes that this was a proper witch story. That the women, the women that they had accused of witchcraft came back as witches. Her hunch was right; they were witches. And it could have been a proper sort of witchcrafty, occult kind of black magic sort of thing. But I'm not saying that detracts from the episode. It was still good, but I just feel like yes, humans are bad. Well,
but it's been every week, isn't it? Yeah, I know what you mean. It does it. The problem is it's kept it on the same tone, isn't it? That's the problem. It's okay if you do it 1 or 2 weeks, that theme, but it's been every week pretty much. And that's the problem, I think. It just means it's been a very one-tone series so far. Yeah. And it doesn't look like that's going to change. So yes. I absolutely get what you're saying.
Yeah. But overall, though, still a step up from a few of the episodes that we've seen thus far in terms of story and aliens, monsters, whatever.
Yeah, I just it had that, you said earlier, it had that more classic Who feel about it. It just felt much more traditional in its style of being a Doctor Who episode, which a lot of people felt for last week with Kablam, and I agree with that, even though I didn't think Kablam was particularly great. I know exactly what people are saying when they say it feels more traditional Who, and this one did as well. So
I think this one miles over Kablam in terms of classic.
Yeah, I just can't. Yeah, I can't get my head around Kablam at all. People love it. I just don't see it. But yeah,
that's a real strange one, Kablam, because our thoughts on it are so different to the majority of fandom.
I think I'd like it a lot more if the performances were better in it. I think that's the thing that ruins Kablam for me, is just how awful the acting was in it.
Yeah, no, I really. I mean, that's not a bad thing. It's just. It's just like worlds apart how we feel about it versus 98% of.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Anyways. Okay, so monsters, it was a step up, and they were, we can't argue they were very scary. When the witches were reanimated and knocking about, they were creepy, and especially when Becca gets properly possessed. That scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, me too. I thought, whoa, they're really up in the scares. Yeah.
And I think that was needed. I think all of the kids under sort of 10 years old needed a Doctor Who smack across the face. Like, kids, it's time to get the cushions up or dive behind whatever. This is how Doctor Who is done.
I think so. I mean, I was even like that in the first few minutes when they were first going to dunk Granny, what's name? I was like, this is quite... I was a bit like, are they actually going to drown her? That's pretty dark stuff. Because you kind of know the Doctor's going to dive in, but they directed it well enough to make you think, well, is she? Because you can see the sort of dilemma on her face of, I mustn't interfere, but I'm going to interfere. So the tension was pretty good from the beginning, I thought, because even that was quite scary in a different sense. It wasn't in your face horror, but it was still a quite unpleasant, oh my God, they're actually going to drown that poor woman. It was pre-adult stuff, I thought. But again, getting a good line between being adult and scary enough for the kids without being too much,
Yeah. What did you think to the TARDIS team just walking through the village with nobody having a look at who these strangers are?
I did think that straight away, actually. On the first watch, when I was watching it Sunday night, I did think that, like, is no one going to question how they look? And I know old King James says something about Jodie's costume, doesn't he? He's like, oh, are you actors? And I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. Maybe they could have played up to that a bit more or something, because it was strange that nobody seemed to notice or question how they looked.
Not even a glance.
Not even a glance.
Strange look, yeah.
No. And this episode was a little bit short on running time as well. I think it was like 46 minutes or something instead of 50. I think it's one of the shorter episodes of the run. So there was plenty of time to have these little scenes that could have explained away stuff like that very quickly. I don't know how much was cut, because the other thing was this started with them already landed. And I thought, oh, there's no TARDIS scene. There was no getting there. They were there just walking through the forest. And I kind of wondered if they'd cut anything from the start. I thought, I wonder if they just sort of watching it and thought, no, we don't need this bit. Let's just cut straight to them there. And, because as I said, it was a little bit underrunning time-wise, this episode. So be interested to see if there's any deleted scenes on the Series 11 box set when it comes out.
Yeah, but that's pretty, I would agree with that. If you don't need to see them having that.
No, and we didn't, to be fair. No.
Because sometimes it's cool just to have, the Doctor and the companions just dunked into a story and not off you go. You don't need the whole TARDIS materialization scene and all that. But I thought the ending was nice, though. It reminded me of, the Family of Blood, whatever, two-part. I can't remember the other episode title, that two-parter.
Family of Blood and the the other one. At the very end, the young boy character, when he says goodbye to the Doctor and Martha, the Doctor looks at him and says, "You're like this bit," and then he sees the TARDIS dematerialize. And it was similar to this when the Doctor says to Willa, or because King James and Willa are standing there and they see the TARDIS, bugger off. Yeah. Willa's face is just in awe. She's like, "What did we just see?" And so it reminded me of that. I can never remember the other bloody Family of Blood and I don't know. Anyway, it reminded me of the. What's the story? The Eccleston story. Here we go. The one written by Mark Gatiss where they go back and I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, it was a lovely scene, a really lovely scene. And it was nice with all the leaves floating around and stuff. I love the bit that Jodie said at the end as well, where she's like, the difference between magic and science, space and all that. And, just a really nice, that was a very doctor-y moment, I thought.
It was.
The Unquiet Dead is what I was trying to think of.
Oh,
the bit, the bit at the end where Charles Dickens sees the TARDIS disappear and the snow all swirls around, and kind of reminded me a little bit of that.
Yeah, no, I read you. Yeah, and that was a very, like you said, a very Doctor-ish thing for her to do and say. So, yeah,
it just visually looks great, didn't it?
Oh yeah, really. Good.
Human Nature and Family of the Blood.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
there you go. I've just Googled it. Weird, terrible.
So story-wise, yeah. Good.
Yeah, it was good. As I said, it wasn't the strongest storyline, was it? It wasn't. As I said, it doesn't. There is something just slightly missing. It's nothing amazing about the storyline, but it was well produced and it was a good storyline. I thought it just, it was decent.
Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of The Force Awakens, Series 11.
Force Awakens.
Yeah, if you think about The Force Awakens in terms of its story and plot, it's a well-trodden path.
Right, yeah.
You could argue that they've played it safe almost. And I feel like that's the case with Series 11, because all of every time that we've reviewed an episode, we've alluded to the fact that yes, it's good, but it's nothing original really. We've seen a lot of these things been done before.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. It's a well-trodden path. It's not anything groundbreaking and. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to explain.
I do. No, I was going to say, I've just thought of I was just thinking back to a chat I had with Matthew Rowney from the Who Addict straight afterwards, because he said it left him feeling nothing. And I had a similar feeling, but although I enjoyed it a lot more than him, I said to him, I really enjoyed the episode, but at the end of it, I didn't feel anything. In other words, there's none of that. I'm thinking back to... I'm trying to think of another episode title now. What's the one with the master in it? Derek Jacobi. Utopia.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember that ending when he locks the Doctor at TARDIS and all that, and just the feeling I had after that episode of just being like, OMG.
Yeah.
I haven't felt any like that after any episode this series, and I just kind of missed that a little bit. You can't have it every week because otherwise it dilutes the feeling of the, you can't have every episode like that. But it would be nice if we had one episode where I was left with something along the lines of that buzz of, wow. Do you know what I mean? Whereas at the end of this one, I enjoyed it, thought it was good, but it was just another episode. It was just like, yeah, that was good, but I didn't feel anything.
No, I read you.
Do you know what I mean?
I read you. It's one of those, because there are so many moments like that across Eccleston, Tennant and Smith's era, where afterwards you're just buzzing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just want to talk about it with other Who fans, and you want to watch it again, and it just stays on your mind, and you come away with it thinking, crikey, this is why I love Doctor Who, because it's just amazing.
Because at the minute, every time an episode finishes from this series, whether I enjoy it or not, my overall reaction is, oh, I wonder if next week will be better.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm always looking to next week's thinking, oh, I wonder what that'll be like. Instead of thinking, God, that was really good. I can't wait for next week. It's just a case of, yeah, that was good. What's next week then? It's just, it hasn't got that momentum that I normally feel with Doctor Who, even if I enjoy an episode, Yeah.
I think the only time that I felt a little bit like that was Rosa. And that was because it had such an emotional oomph at the end. And I thought, wow, that was amazing, because you and I rated that so high.
Oh, so it was good. Yeah,
so
it was.
I think after that episode, I thought, crikey, that was an emotional punch to the face.
Yeah.
And that left me feeling actually, wow, that was really good. But all the other episodes, exactly the same thought as you, mate. I thought, well, we've got next week. So maybe next week they're going to really go for it, and we're going to have either some huge cliffhanger of some kind, because I thought that they were going back to the cliffhanger system, they did at the end of The Woman Who Fell to Earth, and I thought, wow, the cliffhangers are back. This really is like classic Who.
Oh, that's right. I'd actually forgotten about that because they were left floating in space. Yeah, that was good actually.
Yeah. But then it's been a case of, because I think when we reviewed, what was it, Arachnids in the UK or the Saranga Conundrum, one of the two, you and I said, well, we're pretty much halfway through, so we can't keep clinging on to maybe next week. They've got to do it now. They've got to start putting it out the bag. So, yeah, I think you sort of hit the nail on the head when you first described your feelings on this. It's not going to be a 9 or a 10, is it? This story.
No.
And it was a decent watch. It was a great Doctor Who story, and it was great, and this is really, I mean, there's probably 1 million Doctor Who fans out there who could give us 100 reasons why Series 11 is amazing. And they do have that buzz afterwards. And they do think that, Jodie's just absolutely phenomenal. Because I've seen it on Twitter. There was a tweet that I saw day before yesterday where somebody said, I'm so glad that Doctor Who is the best it's ever been. And it's really got me through some hard times in my life. And I can't imagine life without it, So some people are absolutely just on cloud 9 with it at the minute. And that's amazing. But for me, and I think you're the same, it's just missing that one. I can't put my finger on it. It's missing something that is not leaving us with, if the series ended now, it would be amazing because we've had the best it's been. We're not having that feeling. It's just that it's great to watch and it's good, but I don't know. It's like a car with 5 gears and it's only ever going to gear 4. It's just some element there that's not ratcheting it up to, oh my God, I have to rewatch that immediately feeling.
That's the other thing. I was talking with our good friend and listener, Sammy Satine, and she was saying about, I think it was her anyway, thinking now. Yeah, I'm sure it was Sammy. And we were saying about, I haven't really wanted to, normally I'd rewatch something straight away or the next week. And I said, the only reason I rewatched any of these episodes, even if I've enjoyed them, is because I sort of forced myself to for the podcast. Yeah, so even this episode, which I really enjoyed, if we weren't recording the podcast, I probably wouldn't have watched it again for, I don't know when. There was no buzz to go back and originally watch it. And I think the only time I've had it this series would be the first episode. I was quite excited by all the stuff going on in that one. Woman Who Fell to Earth and Rosa. They're the only two that I've just really looked forward to going back and would have rewatched even if I didn't have to for the podcast sort of thing. But the others, if they were on a box set, they'd just be sat there now. They wouldn't even, it's just nothing about them that makes me think, oh God, I love that. I really need to go back and watch that.
I read you. I read you, mate. And it's, I'll be completely honest with you because I don't think I put this on Twitter or told you or anything, but not last week because that was the Witchfinders, but the week before, Kablam, was out with a family and the missus said to me, we should be making tracks to get home soon because Doctor Who will be on. And I said, no, I'm good.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that Kablam week?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I just said, no, I'm good. It's being recorded on Sky Plus, so when we get in later, I'll watch it.
Yeah, see, it shouldn't be like that. I must admit, I've made I do look forward to my Sunday nights. I do look forward to watching it. But it's just it's almost a sort of, no, I wouldn't say scared to watch. Each week I'm thinking, oh, please be good. Please be good. It's not a case of, oh yeah, Doctor Who's on tonight. Cannot wait. It's more a case of, oh, Doctor Who's on tonight. I hope it's good. You know what I mean? But yeah. I do look forward to my Sunday nights. I am glad they moved it to a Sunday. I really am.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, me too. And don't get me wrong, I'm usually, queued up in front of the TV.
But I know what you're saying.
Yeah. It was just that particular vibe with a Series 11. I do. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about some cast members.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think to I'm
looking at the list, and the first one that's come up is Alfonso.
Alfonso.
Did he actually get any lines? He just got shot.
I think he got.
Did he say something?
Line. I think that was it. Yeah,
one line. Poor Alfonso.
Yeah, he was my protector. Yeah. See you later, Alfonso.
Oh dear.
Alfonso, and there's another guy, Smithy. I think his name was.
Who was Smithy?
No, I think he was just one of the kings.
Oh, right.
One of his lackeys. But yeah, those two were just in period dress, not really doing much, really, were they?
Yeah. Dave, remember Smithy.
What about the Twiston family then? So we had young Willa, and then we had old Mother Twiston, who was being accused of being a witch at the beginning of the story, the one being dunked.
Yeah. I'm sure I recognised her from somewhere.
Trisha Kelly, the old...
Yeah, she just looked very familiar. Yeah, I thought she was good, actually. Again, the performance-wise, I thought the cast were quite strong this week. So, yes, I thought she was good, old Mother Twiston.
Yeah.
She looked proper terrified when she was about to be dunked, probably because she was about to be dunked in some freezing cold water. Yeah. But, yeah, she was good. She made a good zombie as well, didn't she? She looked really...
She was cool, yeah.
Because, sometimes when you whack on that zombie makeup, actors can... sometimes go a bit OTT. But I thought she was good. I thought she looked proper scary. Yeah, without going a bit too much,
Yeah, and the other witches as well. I haven't obviously got any names for the supporting cast, but the other reanimated witchy, they all moved with a sort of horrible sort of way, quite authentic. Because there's no rules, is there? If you're a woman that's been reanimated by a mud alien, there's no rule book to say how you should act that or how you should be. So it was really cool just because they moved like their hands were like in a horrible sort of pose, and it was really well done. Yeah.
That bit with her hands, again, that would have been CGI. When Jodie says, "Oh, it's running all through you," and you saw that shot of her hands, that was a great bit of CGI as well. It was like all this, I don't know what it was supposed to be, all this sort of liquid running across her, and that was pretty good.
Oh, before we get on to any more characters, use of the Sonic, better or worse this week? I feel like she didn't use it as much.
She didn't use it as much, did she? No, it was better this week, yeah. I think there was one bit where, there was a couple of bits where I was like, oh, here it is again. But no, it wasn't as bad this week, was it? She used it she did do something in it that I thought, oh, God. But no, it wasn't too bad. It really wasn't. It was toned down a bit, yeah. Oh, yeah, she was trying to read the readings on Tilly, wasn't she? And then she used it to sort of... I thought she'd save the day with it at the end, but I don't think she did, actually. I misunderstood the ending the first time I watched it because I wasn't sure what she shoved in the tree at the end. I was like, what's she just done? Yeah. Even on the second watch, I'm still not very clear on that, to be honest with you. But no, use of the Sonic, yeah, it was better this week, yeah.
Yeah. What about Becca Savage, then? Siobhan Finneran.
Oh, I really liked her. I thought she was fantastic, actually. I thought she really brought the episode up. She's got a good line between being sort of evil, but also you sort of... I think she's just a good actress. I just really sort of bought into her performance. And she played the scary version incredibly well. Mm-hmm. Like proper scary stuff. But she was also quite fragile as well. When she sort of had that... Was it supposed to be blood running down her face from her eye or something? And
yeah.
The doctor was saying, "Tell me, Becca, what's wrong with you?" And all this sort of stuff. You could sort of see the fragile side to her, that she wasn't all that bad, but, it'd all gone wrong. So I thought she was excellent. Really, really good performance from her.
No, I agree. I think she... Yeah, it was one of those performances where she was 100% taking it seriously.
Oh, definitely.
Bought into her role just... So it just felt like she was really naturally playing the hard done by, trying to cover. Because essentially, I think the story is she's getting rid of all the women accused of witchcraft because she's so paranoid, because she knows something's wrong inside.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure. Again, the first time I watched that, I was thinking, why are all those other people been murdered? I wasn't 100% sure on the story. Why she was doing it to begin with. I'm still not 100% sure, really, but I thought she was perfect casting, though. Yes. Absolutely perfect for that role. I loved it when King James first walked in, and I think she got a bit of a thing for him or what, because she seemed to be like, oh, hello. She seemed to sort of her whole mannerism turned from being a really sort of sharp, savage woman to being like, oh, hello, King James, and I liked that. I thought it was a really nice way she just switched. The coldness suddenly disappeared and she was all...
Yeah, I think it was plain to see she's barking up the wrong tree, though.
I think so. But yeah, she was great.
She was really good.
I just want to go back to Tilly as well, Willa Twiston.
Oh, yeah.
I thought she gave a lovely little performance as well as the supposed to be cousins, weren't they? Is that what it was?
Yes. Yeah.
And old Mother Twiston's thing. So yeah, I thought she gave a lovely performance as well. Again, giving a straight performance rather than what I consider to be sort of theatre acting, which I thought we got a lot of last week with Kablam. Everyone seemed to be just taking it up 10 notches, and no, she played it really straight, and I thought it was really good.
No, I agree. A really nice little scene where they go into her little cottage and she offers her the drink of something or soup, whatever. And because there was a couple of moments where you thought, are they witches? Are they actually? Because she's like, I could be a witch sort of thing, and I think the Doctor can see quite clearly that she wasn't, and stuff. And those little interactions with the Doctor was really cool. I thought she had a cracking performance, actually, Tilly Steele as Willa.
I did. I thought she was very good, go on, get on to him. Go on. You're dying to.
Alan Cumming, then. King James. I'm confused by this.
So am I.
I'm confused. I'll tell you why. I'm not sure on whose decision it was for Alan Cumming to play it in this way. Whether it was written that way when Joy Wilkinson said, look, King James, I want him to be this very campy, over the top, theatre style. I want you to play it like that. Or even the director, maybe, Sally Abrahamian. I think, was it sort of intended within the story and the directing that they wanted it that way? Or did Alan Cumming just rock up on set and just thought, I'm going to have so much fun with this? And they just loved it and went with it.
I think that. Yeah, I do. I mean, who's going to tell him not to? I've got to say, I really enjoyed his performance, but I'm also sort of I'm conflicting with myself because it was so everyone else was playing it so straight that really it's like he's in another episode. I'm thinking I shouldn't really like it because as soon as he waltzed in, he was chewing the scenery like you wouldn't believe. It was such a hammy performance, and it was so over the top compared to everyone else's playing it straight down the line, Yeah. So I shouldn't like it, but I do. I do like it. I mean, it was so ridiculous, but I do. But the other thing is, and I've reasoned with it on a second watch, the thing is, I think in a way it kind of needed it because it was such a serious, dark episode.
Right.
And everyone in it is playing it so straight. It was kind of nice just to have him there to just lighten the mood a bit, I mean, the performance was over the top, but it also it did sort of lighten the atmosphere in an incredibly dark episode. So it's a bit of a guilty pleasure. I just sort of loved him, but kept thinking, oh my God, he's so over the top, especially the scenes with Ryan and stuff. When he's like, I'm going to keep my eye on you. And he puts that little badge on him. And
and at the end where he says, come with me back to London. Yeah. Yeah. Ryan, he's got his number, but
I got to say, I don't know about you, but I couldn't help but enjoy the performance, even though it was just somewhat, it was one of the hammiest performances ever. It does kind of remind me of some of the performances we've had in Classic Who, though. Think
David Collins.
Yeah, David Collins, and who's the guy in the I don't know. I keep forgetting the stories, but it's kind of traditional,
Yeah.
So I don't really have a problem with it. It did at first take me out of the story a little bit. I will be honest. When he first come in, I was like, oh blimey, he's being so over the top. But second time, I just really kind of loved it, really. So I don't know. What did you think, mate?
Yeah, it's a weird one because as a performance, it's absolutely brilliant. Do you know what I mean? As him playing it in that way is just genius. Yeah. Because it's unexpected. Because it's such a dark story. He just waltzes in and just immediately takes charge of the whole show with this hammy, campy performance, which is great. It's so good. But on the other hand, it feels like he's been sort of picked up out of a comedy series like Blackadder or something.
A lot of people said Blackadder,
and
didn't they?
Plonked into Doctor Who. It's almost like when he came in and the first sort of minute that he was in the show, in the episode.
Yeah.
I felt like, what is this now? What is this episode? Is it like Carry On Witchfinders or something?
It was very,
So it's a real conflict because in a way it's brilliant. Alan Cumming is so good. And the way he plays it is brilliant. But on the other hand, does it suit the story? No. But does it provide a bit of comic relief out of all the dark stuff that's going on? Yes, so that's good. But then it's too hammy, but then that's good because, do you know what I mean? It's a real to and fro argument within myself about whether I mean, don't get me wrong, it's so weird. I love it because it's just so unique and brilliant. But a part of me thinks like it sort of brings you out of the tone of the story.
It definitely was a different tone. It definitely did, especially as I said, especially a first watch. The person I was trying to compare him to was Graham Crowden in the Horns of Nymon. You know, he gives that really over the top. Because there's that famous scene, isn't it, where he dies and
you meddlesome hussy.
Yes, him. Yes, you meddlesome hussy. So it kind of reminded me of that. You know, I was thinking, you know, you got to give a bit of slack.
Blaspheme the Nymon.
Yes. Yeah.
So
in that sense, I can forgive it because, you know, we got that sort of stuff in Classic Who. So
oh yes,
yeah.
Such a good comparison as well. Because
you meddlesome hussy.
You must blaspheme the Nymon.
So making me want to watch that now.
How many? Oh, that YouTube video, that remix is brilliant.
How many Nymons?
How many Nymons? If anyone hasn't seen this, go on YouTube and search for How Many Nymons. It's just a work of genius, yeah. So Alan Cumming, I think, for his performance as an actor, as a character actor, just faultless, brilliant.
Yeah, and he is a great actor. I mean, if he wanted to, he could have played it straight. You know, he could have played it a lot. I don't mean straight in the character, but he could have played it a lot more like the other actors. Yeah. But he decided to ham it up. And I think he got away with it.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. His accent slipped a little bit, though, didn't it, at times?
Just a little bit.
The old Scottish come through a few times, I noticed. But, you know, not bothered about things like that.
Yeah. He's a great actor, though.
Yeah.
TARDIS team TARDIS, whatever.
Yeah, Team TARDIS.
So, I thought it was the first week where the companions did actually stand aside a little bit and have the Doctor shine through some.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
Which is good. Because all the episodes up to now, it's been a case of, well, this is about Yaz's backstory or this is Ryan's story. We haven't seen too much with Graham. He's been, I would say, in the furthest of the back seats, I would say, out of the three companions. Because all of his story was kind of fleshed out in the first episode.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
You know, so we haven't really had to see much of, well, we haven't been exposed to any of his other than where we picked up with him in episode 1.
Yeah.
So it was good that all three of them were, you know, still had a relative role, I would say, but it wasn't about them per se. It was more about the Doctor doing her thing. So that was pretty cool. And I thought the performances were pretty good. I thought they were, we said this, I think, on every episode, that there's at least one of them that looks a bit bored. And I think in this one, I think it was Ryan to me.
He did look a little bored. And he had some nice scenes with the King. Yeah. He had some nice little moments, but he did look a bit bored, yeah.
Other than that, he didn't really do anything. Because I think Yaz, she heads off on her own back to the village to check on Willa, and that's where she discovers the mud tentacle thing, and
that's right.
And she's a lot more. She's got that caring heart, doesn't she? She interacts with Willa a lot more and stuff. And obviously Graham, he has he gets appointed sort of chief witchfinder because the sonic paper sort of throws the Doctor under the bus. So he gets He gets the new hat, which is very fetching. He gets promoted to sort of chief witchfinder. So he's loving every minute of it by the look of it. But in essence, though, the Doctor does have the bulk of stuff to do, which is arguably how it should be. Not every week, but in most stories, I would say.
Yeah, I think it was welcomed this week. I think she has been kind of a bit bogged down some weeks with this big TARDIS team, and she hasn't been allowed to shine much. So, yeah, definitely allowed for her to come more to the fore. Graham was great in the big hat. He had some great scenes, I thought. It was a nice little scene between him and Ryan as well when the King was going through his box of tricks and they were trying to sort of be subtle, but ended up being incredibly unsubtle. And so nice scenes between those guys as well. And nice scene between Yaz and Tilly. as well. So they got their little moments, and I think they worked well. But it was nice to see them taking a bit of a back seat and letting the Doctor come through to the fore a bit more. Yeah.
So Jodie then?
Well, I thought she was great this week. I really did. She was
writing, mate. I'm convinced
it is the writing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
Gosh, yeah, she was so much stronger. Like when she first got out of the water and confronted Becca Savage, and she was like, "I'll tell you who I am." And I did worry for a second they were going to slightly undo it because she was like, I was like, "Oh no, don't just come out with it." But they saved it. It was all right. It wasn't like Kablam where she questioned herself. It's just that she was looking for a psychic paper. But no, she was so much stronger. That scene where she was tied up, she was great. You know, she really did show that she can act really well.
What, when the King's talking to her, when she was tied up and she's like sort of saying, you need to sort of stop. You need to stop punishing other people because of what's happened to you. Oh, yeah.
And all that. And, and he's like, you're hiding behind stuff. And he was like, well, you're hiding behind the Doctor, aren't you? And all this sort of stuff. So I thought that was a great scene. And it really showed, that she's got the acting chops on her. I never doubted it. I just haven't seen enough of it this series. But I really thought she was great this week. On a first watch, there were there's a couple of bits in this story where she comments on being a woman. Because of the sort of storyline that we're dealing with here anyway, it was appropriate. But there was, on the first watch, I thought there was one too many. I think there was another bit where she came out and said, "Oh, if I was a man, I wouldn't have to do all that." And on the first watch, I was thinking, "Oh, another one." Another. But actually, on the second watch, I kind of got it because this was a story about women being repressed and witches not. So I kind of got it, and it just felt a little clunky on a first watch. I don't know if you know what I mean. She kept sort of coming out with it. I was thinking, oh, okay. But it did work, actually, watching it again. But yeah, I just thought she was much better this week. Really did like her performance. The only, if I had to nitpick, I get a bit annoyed when they write her childlike. So at the very start, she's like, "Apple Bobbin! Oh, I love Apple Bobbin!" And I thought, oh God, here we go. And in Kablam, she's like, "Oh, I want to ride the what do you call it? Conveyor belt." Hey! Yeah. And I'm thinking, don't write her like a 10-year-old, because when you take that stuff away and you get down to her, the rest of the episode, she's so strong in it. It just shows how good the Doctor could be. I think so. Yeah, very good this week.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the way she was written was a lot more truer to how I feel Jodie wants to play her Doctor as well.
Yeah,
because we had we didn't have any of the speak at 1,000 miles an hour techno sci-fi techie chat because there wasn't anything like that to discuss anyway. But we didn't have any of that, and she had some cool elements as well. She played like the investigator very well. When she was snooping around the house and she finds the napkins and
the little mud in the jar bit. I like that bit.
So she played that very well. Really, really cool. And a couple of key scenes. So when she was chained up and about to be dunked, that scene was really good for her. The scene with the King when she was tied up was really good. And the scene where the King comes into the room and they look through the whole box of tricks and he's trying to figure out who they are. And that's that line, like if I was a bloke, I'd have had this all. I'll be on my way
by now.
Yeah. So I think the episode being what it was kind of saved those. I mean, absolutely they were intentional, those lines, but the storyline, like you say, and the time period, it kind of saved those lines really. Because if they were put into a different story, like if she had said that stuff last week or whatever, it would have been like, oh, here we go.
A bit clunky.
A little bit clunky. It's like, yeah, we get it. We're at episode 8 now. We get it. She's a woman. You don't have to, come on, Beeb. You don't have to reinforce it anymore. So I think it was because of the time period and the storyline and stuff. It was suited enough that it didn't feel like preachy,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, there was a couple of moments where she just really shone for me in this particular story. And sometimes she just, this is what I love about the other Doctors as well. Sometimes they just need to do it with a look.
Yeah.
And I haven't felt much of that from Jodie's Doctor, but we got it this week.
Yes.
There was that scene at the end where she's in the rain.
Oh,
and
God,
old King James has just killed old Savage. And it's just that shot of her just smouldering in the rain, looking at him as if like, you. And I thought, yeah, that's great. You know, that's I love stuff like that. It just shows the underlying, take away all the, I'm just talking fast because I'm nervous sort of stuff. That, the Doctor's actually got it all going on underneath, and he doesn't need to say anything. It's just there in a look. So love that scene, and love the little scene at the end where she was talking to him as she was going into the TARDIS. And old Graham does his quotes Tarantino. I thought that was wonderful. Yeah. And then she came out with that little speech. I can't remember what she was quoting, but that was a lovely end to the episode. I thought really nice moment and a good one for her.
Oh, that was distinguishing between technology and magic or something.
That's it.
Really nice, yeah.
Yeah.
That scene you mentioned though, where it's just her and and it's raining, and when they go to the tree stump on the hill.
Yeah.
The climax, and that scene just. Yeah, the direction for that and the look and feel and stuff, that was like, crikey, Moses. That when you said like Jodie's got the acting chops, but we just haven't seen enough of it. There's that one scene there. It was only like 6 seconds or something.
Yeah.
But for me, that was like, crikey, that just amazing. Love that bit.
It's just conveying something in a look. If you can do that, it's pretty special.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't got anything else on act and stuff. One thing I did want to mention was that the score again by Segan was, especially in the first half of the episode, was really good, like scary, creepy music. That guy just nailed this.
Yeah, I loved it because he's kind of using the same sort of chords and stuff, but what he's doing is he's changing the sort of style and the instrument sound to fit the episode. So it almost had a slightly folky, violin-y soundtrack, and it just really suited the episode well, but still sticking to his style of music. I thought it was great. Yeah, really liked it. Very really creepy.
Good. Yeah.
And quite sparse in places as well. There was just like, I don't know if it's a violin actually, but sometimes you just get like a stroke of, like just hovering in the background there. It just underlines the tension. I thought it was great.
Yeah. So that's got that. I think that's exactly what any TV show needs, really. It needs to be, the story needs to be supported by like the music and atmosphere and stuff. It doesn't need to be, I think we've said this before, but some of Murray Gold's music, and that's not Murray Gold's fault though, because he's just composed the music based on the script or the story. I think it's when it's been put together afterwards that the editors or what a director have put it in a bit strong at times. But I think with every episode, I've not once thought, oh God, that was overpowering, or turn the music down or whatever. It's just always been just there supporting the story and the atmosphere. So
yeah, no, I thought it was good, especially when you ramped up the volume when in the dunking scenes at the start and Jodie's.
Yes.
Especially Jodie's, I think, if I'm remembering rightly, it really sort of built up because you were seeing Graham going, stop it. And it was, I seem to remember the music built really well. So no qualms with the score again this week. It was great.
Anything else, mate, before we score this?
No, I thought the direction was good. Like I said, the scenes where the zombie, what do we want to call them? Zombie witches?
Zombie grannies.
Zombie grannies.
Zombie witches.
Zombie grannies. Like the scene where the camera panned round and they were all stood behind him was done very well, and the swooping shots and, like you said, the sparse shots of trees that were just sort of in there just to set atmosphere. It was very nicely directed, I thought.
I agree. And Joy Wilkinson, please come back and write some more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Very good.
It's a good script from her, I thought. Yeah.
Right, scores. I think it's me to go first, and I am going to give this. No, I had one score written down.
Oh,
as we
what did you have written down?
Well, I had a 7.5 written down.
Okay.
I'm wondering if I should up that to an 8. So I did think it was a really good story. I'm going to give it an 8. Yeah, I'm going to go with the gut feeling. Give it an 8.
You're going to give it an 8. Yeah. I've got a score written down. And I'm going to stick to it. And it's also an 8.
Oh, right. Cool.
Yeah. I was a bit like you. In the middle, when it slowed a little, I was thinking, is it a 7? Is it a 7.5? I would never have dropped below a 7 with this story. But I think because of the little moments with Jodie, especially the ones we've just mentioned, I think it brings it up to an 8. Yeah, I thought it was a good, solid episode. I'm just looking at our previous scores, actually. So, Kablam, we scored quite low. Demons of Punjab, 8 and 9. Yeah, so it puts it on par with. Have we given any other story an 8?
No, we've given. Well, Woman Who Fell to Earth, I gave it an 8.5.
Yeah.
And The Ghost Monument, we both gave it a 7. And then other than that, it's either been below 8 or above. So, yeah. Good score, though.
Yeah, it's good.
Definitely. I think it's one, when we get the box set out, it's one that I'll definitely watch over others in the series, put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. Same.
Rightio, what did our listeners think? We had another stack of audio reviews in, which is really cool.
Excellent.
The Big Blue Box Audio Reviewers Audio Club thing. Let's kick off. Someone you might recognise.
Hey, Gary and Adam, Beef here. Well, the Witchfinders. To be honest, I had high hopes for this, but again, it's a slow start and a rushed end, and it's bogged down with the constant exposition, just repeating the same explanations of what's going on. Flashes of potential from Jodie, but she's always self-sabotaging for the sake of a cheap joke. The costumes and visuals are great again, bits of by the numbers. It's an average episode, and it's let down by inconsistent writing. The same as other weeks, just develop the story. There was a load of walks in the forest and just conversations. Alan Cummings wasted as a clown for the first half of the story. I'm frustrated every week. It just seems like a troll running, trying to get Jodie's doctor right, and it's falling short. She just blends in and gets lost in the crowd. It shouldn't be down to Graham to let us know where we are or what happened in history. That's the doctor's job. Feels like we're getting the pilot season for the real season 11. They're struggling to give 13 any character identity, so it's making things feel a bit generic. I'm tired of saying each week it's fine or okay, and maybe next week will be better, but there's still no wow moment. To wrap up, it was a very small step in the right direction with Becca Savage as a female antagonist and the Ailey Moore act, but it's the same pitfalls each week, and the guest cast again outshine the regular crew, so I've got to give this 5 muddy wellies out of 10. See ya.
Old Beefy.
Oh, my good friend Tim Beef. I'm going to give Tim a big hug when I next see him, because he desperately wants to like Series 11, but he is just not feeling it. Yeah. And we chat quite a bit in the week, we chat quite a bit of Witch in the week, and I do know what he's saying. I do agree with a lot of what he's saying. But big hug coming your way next time we're at the bar, Mr. Beef.
Indeedy. Cheers, Beef. Yeah. Let's crack on. This is Sammy from Down Under.
G'day, Gary and Adam, Sammy Satine here. So, the Witchfinders, well, I like King James, I didn't like the zombies. I think my big problem with Series 11 is that all the episodes have been about the same. No one has done anything to shake it up or show us a decent threat. The companions haven't had their lives threatened, and to be honest, I'm just watching it because it's Doctor Who. Also because I'm really enjoying Whovians afterwards. I think Jodie is a great actress, but as much as I support 13, I think she hasn't reached the point where she's the Doctor like all the others. I feel like I'm missing something, and I really don't know what it is. Anyway, I give it 7 witches out of 10, and I really like stories about witches too. Anyway, see ya.
Sammy.
I really thought Sammy was going to like this week.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, it'll be, with the scares and stuff, but oh no.
There we go. Thank you, though, Sammy.
There we are. Thanks, Sammy.
One of our Twitter mentioners. This is Rotide.
Hello, Gary and Adam. This is Elliot, aka Rotide, and The Witchfinders was a phenomenal episode, wasn't it? I mean, I thought it was outstanding. The acting from everybody, the plot was just brilliant. We had a scary villain that wanted to take over the world. There was some backstory crammed in there, which allowed us to kind of understand who these villains are, which I thought worked really well. Jodie's performance was just on point. She stood her ground. No one was listening to her, and I thought that was a really good kind of part to the story, because she really had to defend herself every step of the way. Graham loved the hat. Ryan and Yaz they did a good job. And overall, I thought this episode was brilliant. I'd give this episode about a 8.5 out of 10.
8.5.
Excellent. Oh, so it's really nice to put a voice to the name, isn't it? Rotide. I've seen that on our Twitter so many times.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Rotide.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you very much. Right, Ian Stevens. Ian from France.
Is it Ian from France? I thought he'd gone.
No, because he had a real...
I know. I thought he'd smashed his TV up and...
Yeah.
He sellotaped it back together.
Well, let's have a listen and see what he thinks.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that's better. The demons of the Punjab were so bad it made me want to set fire to my face. Then, last week, a radical improvement. Continued with this week's episode. Let's look at the positives. The witches, proper, gory, nasty-looking monsters with the potential to scare the living shoot out of young children. Great. That's what Doctor Who should be. A nice blend of historical references and sci-fi concepts. A message that was both poignant and pertinent. Women aren't rubbish, folks. Stop treating them badly. All but the most mentally enfeebled can get on board with that, surely. It was fun. Alan Cummings was pretty poor. I think he might have been hungry. How else do we explain his insistence on chewing all of the scenery? And what the hell was going on with that accent? The writer's constant insistence on undercutting the Doctor's authority. Every time she does something strong, they force her to say or do something silly to downplay it. It's becoming a pattern, and not one that I approve of. Ryan still can't act. I mean, at all. He sounds like he hasn't even seen his lines before, and he's reading them off an auto cue on the spur of the moment. He's rubbish. But overall, the show is back on form. 7 out of 10. Oh, an 8 out of 10 for Kablam. Ian is happy. Alors, c'est suffit. J'ai parlé trop déjà. À bientôt, mes amis. Bonne semaine.
Ian's back.
Ian's back. Yeah, he's loving it.
Yeah. Anyone that wants to hear a review that will have you in stitches for at least an hour, go back to episode 209, I think. Listen to Ian's review of Demons of the Punjab. It's just something else. But I'm glad that Ian's back on board.
Yeah, it's always good. I always love it when we see a little audio review drop in from you, Ian. We always know we're in for a treat.
Indeed, yes. Keep the train going. This is TardetNet 66.
Hello, Gary and Adam from the Big Rewards podcast. Now, I forgot to send in an audio clip for Kablam, so I'm going to try and summarise my thoughts on the 2 episodes as fast as I can. Now, I really loved Kablam. It had an atmospheric setting and had really creepy robots, and I really like how it questioned technology in the workplace, but I like how it has an important message, as it showed it's not technology the problem, but how people use it. The Witchfinders I liked, but not nearly as much as the other historical episodes in this series. I really liked Alan Cumming as King James, who I thought was fantastic, and I enjoyed how it showed the 13th Doctor, and it addressed the gender issue as she's confronting the prejudice of the past. But I did think that the villain was kind of dull and the ending was kind of rushed.
There we go.
Excellent. Yeah, good thoughts. I agree.
2 for 1.
Well, apart from the Kablam, but yeah, I agree. Why do we not like Kablam? I feel like we're not in the Kablam club, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. The bouncers have just turned us away.
No. We're here for Kablam, your name's not down.
Last audio clip. This is from the Who Addicts. Matt Rowney.
Hey there, Gary and Adam. I hope you two are well. Now, The Witchfinders. This was an interesting episode for me because on first watch, I wasn't really a fan of it. And I come out with the episode, like Gary said last week about Kablam, I felt indifferent and I didn't feel any emotion towards the episode after first viewing. You know, the phone come out halfway through, I was a little bit bored, I wasn't engaged in the episode at all. But a rewatch did it so many favours for me. I appreciated it a lot more on rewatch and I thought it was much, much better. I thought the story itself, I'm not a big fan of fantasy, but I thought the story was quite good. Had a slight classic vibe about it as well, I thought. The Doctor, I thought Jodie nailed it this week. This was her at her best so far. She just seemed a lot more confident in the role, comfortable with the dialogue. I was glued to her. I just think she was the centrepiece of the episode and she did feel like the Doctor for me. King James is a difficult one for me because I appreciate how brilliant Alan Cummings' performance was as King James. His performance was amazing. And I thought when toned down, he was absolutely incredible. But when he was a little bit camp, trying to be funny, a little bit cringy, I wasn't a fan of his character in some of the other scenes. I just thought he was dragged straight off of a pantomime or something. But other than that, I thought he was amazing. As soon as Morlax appeared, it sort of took the episode in a completely different direction. I thought that the reveal was a little bit, of an anticlimax. She looked boring. She looked generic. Yeah, overall, The Witchfinders, better on second watch. Still some things that I think could have been better, but overall, I enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Nice one, Matt.
A 7, yes. I just want to give a big shout out to Liv from the Who Addicts as well. A big hug to Liv, because she's received some really horrible and personal attacks on YouTube this week that have been so uncalled for and unnecessary. So big hug, Liv. I know you listen to the show, and don't listen to them. We all love you.
We do love you. Yeah. No, Liv's a strong.
Yeah, she can handle it.
She can handle it. Yeah, don't let it get to you.
Mm.
Right, audio clips done from you guys. Thank you so much. Let's have a quick breeze through some of the socials over on Twitter. Craig Matthews said the first 15 minutes I feared it was going to be another dud, but then it started to become more exciting, and by the end I really enjoyed, even if a bit odd in places. Ryan and James had me in stitches with their dialogue. 7.5.
Cool.
Our writer Jordan Shortman says, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The whole witch hunt hysteria is a period of history which fascinates me, so I loved it for that, and I loved how it ties in with the Pendle witches. The monsters were very creepy, and the whole cast, main and guest, were on top form. Just a fantastic episode.
Awesome.
The Hooniverse says, Alan Cumming was wonderfully charming, an angry and darker 13, which is great. An alien enemy, gorgeous cinematography. The prop TARDIS is heart, and an interesting story. Entertaining for me, completely 4 stars.
Yeah, TARDIS looked lovely, didn't it?
It did, yes. Spencer Shively says, one of the better episodes this season, but not my absolute favourite. Loved Alan Cumming. He was wonderful in this. Liked how we got an actual alien threat, and we still got the human villain, and I thought that worked out very nicely. 8 out of 10. Time Lord 0902 says, Killer Mud. Seriously, ? Maybe in the last episode we discover that Graham and Jodie switch bodies, and he is really the Doctor. One can only hope. Why do I bother subjecting myself to this shell of a once great show? A 2 out of 10. Oh dear. Edward Giluli says, this was much more like it. Creepy monsters, great guest stars, and a thoroughly entertaining romp. Jodie's most authoritative performance yet. Plus, finally, the Doctor visits Lanx. 8 King James's witch pokers out of 10.
Oh, yeah, that blimmin' stick thing he had is horrible.
A witch poker. Yes. Joshua van der Sluys says, I enjoyed this episode. The monsters were creepy until the main Morax Queen showed up and was let down after that. Jodie and Alan Cummings were great performances. The companions were given okay things to do. I give it a 5.5.
5.5, okay.
Yes. Over on Facebook, Jessica Leffelman. Good episode, but the villains seemed a bit weak in my opinion, and they dispatched them much too quickly. All that build-up and bam, defeated.
Well, it was a quick wrap-up, yeah.
But the actors were great. Loved Alan Cumming as King John. And that musical score, all that violin was beautiful. I give it 8 out of 10.
Cool.
And again, BBC America did not give us a next time trailer.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
To be honest, you didn't miss much. If you blinked, you'd have missed it.
Yeah,
it was about 10 seconds long.
Luke East says, a good ep, still not up there with Rosa. Not much of a villain again. Jeff Waddle says, the 3 historicals have easily been the best by far. This was brilliant, but better than much of what's come before. Alan Cumming was over the top. It could have easily been a disaster, yet somehow it works.
Yeah.
There were times you could almost see that they were trying to do with Jodie, but she's just not there yet. And that's pretty poor for 8 episodes in. But a 7.5.
Cool. Cheers, Jeff.
Miles McKenzie. I absolutely love this story. Whilst at first I thought Alan Cumming was over the top, it turns out James I was actually like that. Very much works in the story, and I hope we get to see him again. He had some one-liners that made me laugh too. Like the Morax, and find them quite memorable. The TARDIS team and guest stars were all great this week too. Goes on to give it a 9.5.
Oh, strong.
Zach Jenkin. Everyone saying Satan every 2 minutes drove me mad. A weak villain, just meh, like most of the series so far, in my opinion.
Oh, Zach.
Jason Thayer says, kind of dull. Monsters were good. 4 out of 10. And Lou Gallagher says, interesting premise that seemed a bit bogged down. but that's far from bad. I think it's Jodie's best performance yet, even if the writing for her Doctor is still a bit generic. I liked Alan Cumming and Siobhan Finneran in this episode, despite their rather hammy performances. Villains could have been more interesting, but they were just resolved too easily. 7 out of 10.
7, okay.
Yes. Did you have a positive or negative vibe?
No, it was very mixed this week on Geeks Handbag. I had about 30 comments, I think, overall. And it just a real split this episode. I was quite surprised. I thought it was going to be a real positive reaction after I went on Sunday, but I'd say it's about 60-40 liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yes. Okay. Right. Next week, we're going to continue the Series 11 episodes, obviously. What is it next week?
So, yeah, gosh, can you believe we're saying this? Episode 9 of 10. Blimey. Yeah. And it's called It Takes You Away. Strange title, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, I think out of all of Series 11, this is the one that has got me intrigued out of all of them.
Is it?
Yeah, because the title is quite... It's not what you would expect. It's not your usual descriptive title. And that might sound weird because It Takes You Away obviously insinuates that you're going to be taken away. What I mean is it opens up so many questions about what it means. And the trailer was a little bit, it just didn't reveal anything really.
No. The synopsis, I've got to be honest, I really hope I'm wrong about this because I've got nothing to go on really. I just don't have a good feeling about it. I've got a feeling it's going to be filler. I don't know why. I think it's because we haven't been given much to go on, and I just hope actually that by next week I'm like, that was brilliant. I'm really hoping for a good, creepy episode. I don't know. I mean, the trailer once again gave us nothing, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, literally gave us nothing. I don't know. I hope it's a good one. I really do, because obviously we've only got 2 episodes left now, and the final is written by Chibbers. It's got the most ridiculous title as well. So I hope it's good. Yeah, It Takes You Away. It is intriguing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this one,
You got a good feeling.
The other side of the fence. Yeah. I think this one is going to be a good one because the synopsis is relatively creepy. It's on the edge of a Norwegian ford in the present day. The Doctor and the team discover a boarded up cottage and a girl named Hannah in need of their help. What has happened and what monster lurks in the woods around the cottage and beyond.
That does sound good.
So I think it might have it sounds like it's going to have a similar vibe to Witchfinders. So I think this one could be pretty good.
We've had a lot of forest in Series 11, haven't we? They're really making the most of that forest, which is a thing. But yeah, I hope it's good.
Well, yeah, we hope so. So next week
we shall find out.
Yeah, we'll be reviewing this Sunday's It Takes You Away, and I think we'll do them, mate, for 211.
Okay.
Thank you for sticking with us for 211 and listening to our waffle and chat and all the stuff that goes with it. We had some pretty cool merch. I think unanimously these new Blu-ray box sets are doing the business. So can't wait for that one.
Can't wait. Love it.
Should be good.
Yeah.
But before that, let's not wish away season 19 that's going to be out hopefully in the next couple of weeks. That should be awesome.
I've just got visions of by the time they all get them out, we're just 2 skeletons at the either end of the collection.
Yes. And the Doctor wearing a scarf, which is original Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. The Doctor wearing a scarf. Anyway, thank you for listening.
I'm off to watch the Horns of Nimon now.
How many Nimons have you seen today?
You meddlesome hussy.
How many Nimons? Head over to our website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our episodes on there, plus there's buttons to link off to all of the social stuff. We're on all of those, Twitter, Facebook, Insta, all of that stuff. Give us a like and a follow. We chat lots of Who during the week. And also our website is crammed full of really cool articles from our guest writers. So have a look on there and get stuck in. Some really cool stuff. Also subscribe to the podcast itself. We're on all the podcast networks, the biggest one being iTunes, of course. And we've recently sorted out our issues with Spotify as well. There was a few weeks where our show was a bit up and down, but it's all resolved now. So regardless of where you want to listen, we're on all the big ones: iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Music, all that stuff. Just do a search for Big Blue Box and give us a sub, and you'll never miss a show when it goes out every Friday. Also, go and check out Adam's channel on YouTube, The Geek's Handbag.
Yeah, I've got some new vids on the way, finally.
Awesome.
Yeah, got a nice little unboxing coming.
Ah, nice one.
And a review of K9.
Talking of unboxings and reviews, just go and check out Adam's channels. There's so many really cool stuff. Loads to get your teeth into. And you're also on all the socials under the same name, The Geek's Handbag.
That's it.
Just give them a like and a sub and all that jazz.
Go and find me.
Get involved. So all the times that we review stuff from our listeners, it's all on there. Go and check it out. Until next time, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember...